Car sales across the board are down, unemployment's up, and incomes are also down. So if you're in the market looking for a used car, then this video is for you. Hey everyone, Zach the Money Nutritionist here today, and I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel so that you get up-to-date videos as soon as they're released. And as always, if you haven't already, smash that like button. So right now, my fiance and I are actually looking to purchase a used car, maybe a new car, but we would like to get a used car just because it makes more financial sense. And we both had our cars for about 10 years. She just sold hers, and now I plan on keeping my Honda until the wheels fall off, but you know, I might give it to someone for $1,000 or something. But either way, we are in the market for a used car, so I thought it'd be useful to see what's going on and also share that information with everyone else. So if you haven't seen already, both new and used car sales are down across the board. But it makes perfect sense because we're going through this COVID pandemic, right? Unemployment was actually at an all-time high since the Great Depression. It was at 14.7%, but in May it dropped down to 13.3%. So we have millions of people who aren't working. If you are in a fortunate enough position to where you not only need a car, but you can actually afford one, then this information is for you because you need to understand what's going on with the prices and the inventory. Now, used car sales in April dropped 34.4%. They just fell off a cliff. But in May, those used car sales actually went back up a little bit. Most of the information about the used car sales come from Manheim. They're actually responsible for running used car sales all across the US, and they just recently furloughed more than 6,000 employees because of the slowdown. So what happens is a lot of dealerships will go to auctions, and they go to auctions to buy used cars at a wholesale price. Then they turn around and obviously push that price up and resell it back to a consumer. Well, what we know is due to the pandemic, a lot of these auctions were just shut down completely. So there's just a large inventory of used cars just sitting there. You have companies that needed to retire their fleet and they needed cash. There's used cars. You've seen Hertz that just filed for bankruptcy and other rental car companies who need cash. So there's a lot more inventory. New cars, the plants where they make new cars, those plants shut down. So there's not as many new cars there. And then when people start working again, we'll get to that in a minute. Some sellers at auctions have begun setting minimum prices below which they won't even sell a vehicle. Across the nation, the used car sales have dropped 9.8%. Another problem when it comes to dealerships is that they'll buy vehicles with financing, so they're paying a loan themselves. Now, when that car is then sold, they obviously can pay off that loan and they have made some cash. But if that car sits for a very long time, then the dealership has a problem on their hands. So with people being stuck at home, they haven't been able to go buy new or used cars. So with things starting to slowly reopen, we can expect to see an uptick in both new and used car sales. As a matter of fact, here are the percentages that each car type has dropped since April. Compact cars, 17.2%, mid-sized cars, 19.5%, luxury cars, 3.5%, pickups, 10.5%, SUVs, 8.8%, and vans, 15.3%. Some of the biggest decline in sales for specific vehicles were the Tesla 3, Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, the Volkswagen Atlas, the Chevrolet Spark, the Honda HR-V, the Lexus GX, and the Tesla X. Matter of fact, because Hertz has just gone through a bankruptcy, the best deal that they're giving on their fleet of vehicles that they're getting rid of is the BMW 7 Series. It's actually marked at 13.7% below the market value. There's also tons of deals when it comes to used cars because these dealerships need to move their inventory. For instance, I saw you can get a loan that has 0% interest for 72 to 84 months. However, I don't really recommend these loans due to negative equity and a lower resale value. Something else to keep in mind, there are going to be tons of people who will probably default on their car payments because we've got 13% of people who no longer have a job. So it's possible that people will begin trading in vehicles or they'll default and those cars will get repossessed. So then there will be an opportunity to get used cars at a big bargain. If you work in an industry that can be affected due to coronavirus, then I would also not recommend that you put yourself in the situation of worrying about a car payment and a car loan. Because there's a lower demand for both new and used cars, sellers will be more likely to negotiate better prices for these vehicles. If you're thinking about trading in your vehicle, more than likely you're going to have to take less because there's a lot of inventory already sitting there on their lots, so they're not going to be willing to pay you top dollar when you go to trade in your vehicle. Another thing going on is if you leased a car, a lot of dealerships weren't taking them back in March and April. So as things started to reopen, people then had the opportunity in May to start turning those leases back into the dealership. What this does by dealerships now having more cars on hand from leases expiring is that will put downward pressure on used car prices. So that means if you then take your own car in to trade it into a dealership, they're going to offer less for it. But what that does mean is if you go in to purchase a used vehicle, then you might be able to get it at a bargain and it will eventually turn into a buyer's market. So there are a lot of good reasons to focus on used cars right now, with the top reason being price. There's also going to be more inventory. However, as people stop using mass transportation like buses and subways and things like that, and Ubers and Lyfts even, people will most likely start buying more vehicles. So as we get through the summer and things start to reopen, you can expect people to return to buying cars. So these deals aren't going to last for very long. So you want to go ahead and focus on getting your used car deals now versus waiting for all of the demand to start coming back. But until all the demand returns, a lot of automakers are giving very attractive low interest loans to people who want to buy certified pre-owned vehicles. These are vehicles that are slightly used and don't have a lot of miles. But as always, I expect you to go out and do your own research before you pull the trigger on which route you want to take when it comes to getting a new or a used car. And that's why I expect all of us to continue making healthy money decisions. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to stay updated on the latest. But more importantly, to stay updated on YouTube, press the subscribe button below.